Who's making all that fuss? You want to know? Well, that's the black people around the world. Let me tell you what's going on. They're waking up. Before I begin on the topic of black people waking up and critical race theory, this couple, they're talking about critical race theory. You see the black woman right here and the white man right there? Well, you can imagine what she has to say. Black women, stop being used as pawns. I know that we've been belittled, beaten up, not taken seriously, but I have to go in on you with this theory that you're promoting or not promoting.
What will that message gain us?
Let's dive deep. Who remembers this clip? Well, it came from the movie New Jack City, and I'm using this clip to illustrate my point about certain black women being used as pawns to rockabye America, the black folks in America and across the world, back to sleep. What I mean by rockabye, make them spiritually dead again. Yes, there's an awakening happening, and it's going to happen regardless, but there's pawns being used to stop it. Let's get deep. I don't want to confuse you. I'm only going to enlighten you.
Rastaman, I'm here to tell you Nino Brown says your services are no longer needed in the...
Yeah! Now that's how you kill somebody, my brothers. You get right up on the motherfucker and bam! Throw his brains all over the sidewalk in broad daylight.
Rock the block, baby.
There are many people teaching the truth, helping you to think critically. Wouldn't you rather think critically with logic and facts than think on the grounds of what someone is pretty much telling you how to think? Some people want to say critical race theory is teaching racism. How is that when it's teaching about a person's true history and not suppressing, oppressing those people? Listen to this report.
Now, maybe it's all the leftover energy from last year's elections. I'm not sure. But these school board elections are heating up. Okay, we started talking about this a little bit last week when protesters and counter-protesters showed up to a school board meeting in Beaverton, and some people brought guns. So, yeah, I would say they're heating up. After our story aired, a lot of you emailed us about some of the school board races in your community that you're concerned about, and we're looking into them. But for tonight, we want to zero in on an issue that seems to be a flashpoint for these school board elections, not just here in the Northwest, but really across the country. We're talking about critical race theory. It's a framework that's been around since the 1970s. It's meant to examine the way policies and law perpetuate systemic racism. It says that racism is woven into the fabric of our nation's history, not just by individual bad actors. Here's how Randy Blazak, chair of the Coalition Against Hate Crimes, explains it.
And all critical race theory is doing is trying to acknowledge how deeply woven ideologies related to race are in our systems. You know, how we are all learning white supremacy, even if we're not Klan members and neo-Nazis. We're learning messages about white supremacy. The way that we teach history, you know, when we think of world history, it's European history. We're not learning the history of China, the history of the Southern Hemisphere. So we see everything through a very European lens. When we talk about sort of our great thinkers and great inventors, we focus on the white people and miss a lot of the people of color.
A lot of people are critical of this approach. A lot of people are critical of critical race theory. Jeanette Shada called it Marxist Black Lives Matter materials. She and her political action group funding her campaign says that CRT is alarming.
Critical race theory is one such political ideology which is racist.
I think critical race theory is racist. I urge everyone to dig into it and make their own minds about it and think for themselves and decide if they think it's racist or not. I believe it's racist because it's race-based. But the curriculum that's critical race theory, I think, is in many ways very alarming. And from my perspective, it just goes away from the civil rights movement of the 60s where we were all equal.
If you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. Look at his clip. Did you see it when he was talking? They're using black women. Look at it close. Yes. And this is why I'm saying black women are being used to go against teaching real history. This technique is called product placement. You think you are listening only to what the man is saying, but they have put different images within his environment that your subconscious, yes, your subconscious is picking up on. Black women, it's saying, is with America on this stance. Elizabeth Taylor is beautiful. A beautiful white woman. But does she really look like Cleopatra? Stay locked. You don't want to miss what's coming up next. You don't get it yet? Okay, let me make it plain for you. There is a push going on to say that America is not racist. Pretty much, they don't have a racist bone in their body, America.
Today in Oklahoma, the Republican-controlled House voted that teachers there won't be allowed to teach certain concepts dealing with race and racism. In Missouri, lawmakers are pushing to ban it, saying it can make children feel bad about being white.
They're trying to take slavery out of history books. Why now? Maybe because you can link the fact that slavery existed here in America and across the globe dealing with people of color, then link it back to the Bible and so on and so forth, will really let you know, or let those certain people know who they are. If you want to know more about product placement and white supremacy, look at these pictures regarding Cleopatra, a woman who lived in Africa. Near the equator runs straight through Africa. Why is it that when she's shown, she's on a pedestal, and the slaves around her that's pulling her are black people? The common people around, the commoners, are so-called white people in Africa. Really? What happened to the melanin needed to protect you from that blazing hot sun on that equator? Take a look at this. This video is going to show how the sun sees you. That the sunblock that you put on your skin is actually melanated. So what you need to protect you from the sun is naturally melanin. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you want to be able to be a critical thinker.